Donald Trump is on track to win both the Republican nomination and the general election in 2024 against Joe Biden. And now this is according to polls. And obviously, polls don't vote and the voters do vote, as we all know. But polls sometimes do tend to be wrong, and they also do sometimes tend to be right. For example, the 2022 midterms polls were wrong. The 2016 election polls were wrong. And 2020 polls were actually a little bit more on the accurate side. So polls are a little bit inconsistent when it comes to being accurate or inaccurate. But as of today, Donald Trump is the frontrunner and is expected to win the Republican nomination, and Donald Trump will face Joe Biden. Trump is up by 60 points, so he will win. In fact, if the indictments don't get in his way and he is still allowed to run, Donald Trump will be the frontrunner as of today and defeats all the candidates. He's up by 60%. He is crushing the candidate that comes in second place, Ron DeSantis. Donald Trump is crushing Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis is at 12% to Donald Trump's 60%. Okay, Nikki Haley in third place. Trump is also crushing her, and everybody combined does not defeat Donald Trump. Donald Trump does in fact beat everybody combined. Nikki Haley 9%. Ramaswamy in fourth place at 5%. He actually has been falling, while Nikki Haley actually has been rising, and DeSantis has been slowly decreasing, as well as Ramaswamy. So Nikki Haley, out of all these candidates besides Trump, is basically the only one who actually has hope. But it doesn't matter. She's not going to be the nominee. Neither DeSantis, neither Ramaswamy. It's going to be Donald Trump and Joe Biden rematch for 2024 general election. That's the likely scenario. And Donald Trump is going to win the Republican nomination. That's flat out true. So, you take a look at the 2024 presidential election. Donald Trump can just flip 3 states and he will be on track to win the general election. That's all Donald Trump needs to flip. 3 states. It may seem like a lot, but guess what? It's not, because the 3 states Trump needs to flip in order to get his easiest pathway to 270 are probably the most easiest states he can possibly flip. Those states include Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin. 3 states Trump, in fact, won in the 2016 election. The 3 states that Trump needs to flip in order to win the 2024 election, he won them in 2016. Arizona, Trump won that in 2016 by around 3 to 4 percentage points. Georgia, Trump won that in 2016 by around 5 percentage points. Wisconsin, Trump won that in 2016 by a little bit under 1%. So those are easy states, and Donald Trump can easily win the 2024 election. It's not going to be easy. He's going to need to get the right messaging. He cannot get the wrong messaging, and he needs to campaign in those 3 key states. If Donald Trump gets the wrong messaging in the Rust Belt, it could hurt him eventually. And in Arizona, it's going to be key, because Arizona is a state that Trump won in 2016 but lost in 2020. Let's see if he can win it again in 2024 like he did in 2016 against Hillary Clinton. So, in 2020, Joe Biden narrowly won the state of Arizona. He almost lost it. Trump almost won Arizona in 2020. Biden only won it by 0.4%. So, at this point, Donald Trump can very well win Arizona. It's reachable, and it could easily flip to his column if Joe Biden screws up. Joe Biden can screw up by just one thing, and Donald Trump can easily win Arizona as he did in 2016. And he almost did it in 2020. Joe Biden barely won it. So what I mean by messaging, Donald Trump, in order to win these states like Arizona, have to get the right messaging. Arizona has a big independent voter group, big independent voter block. I believe Arizona is the state that makes up majority of independents besides Maine. Besides Maine, Arizona is the state besides Maine that has the majority of independent voters who vote in general elections. And if Donald Trump can win over the independent voting bloc, he can ultimately win the state of Arizona, and that's what he did in 2016. But he fell short in 2020, and he barely fell short. He almost won it. Like I just mentioned, only went to Biden by 0.4, so it's definitely reachable. It's on Donald Trump's resume. He won the state of Arizona in 2016. So let's say Arizona does flip for Donald Trump. That puts him at 246. Okay, next state, Georgia. Georgia's also another very winnable state for Trump, as he won it in 2016, but it's another state where he lost in 2020, just like Arizona. And Georgia and Arizona are two states that both vote very similarly. 2020, Joe Biden barely won the state by 0.3%. Trump almost won it, just like Arizona. That's how they vote very similar. And then in 2016, Georgia went to Donald Trump with a comfortable margin of around 5%. So Arizona and Georgia both voted for Trump in 2016, but both voted for Biden in 2020. So they're going to vote very similar in 2024, I expect. So if one of these two states, Arizona or Georgia, goes to Trump, I expect another one to follow. So if Arizona goes for Trump in 2024, I expect Georgia to go for Trump as well. If Georgia goes for Trump in 2024, I expect Arizona to do the same thing. So I expect both Arizona and Georgia to vote the same way, just like how they do all the time. 2016, 2020, Arizona and Georgia voted together. They voted for the same thing. So whatever Arizona will vote for in 2024, Georgia will do the same thing. That's what I'm trying to say. And you take a look at these states like Arizona or Georgia. Arizona, Donald Trump is up in polls. He's defeating Biden by 5%. 5% in the latest Arizona polls. You take a look at Arizona polls. 42% for Joe Biden. Donald Trump at 47%. Trump wins by nearly 5 percentage points. This is bad news for the Biden campaign. And don't get me wrong, polls can very well be wrong, like they were in 2016. 2016 polls projected Hillary Clinton would be the president. Guess what? She lost. In the 2022 midterms, polls thought there would be a red wave in the midterms. That did not end up happening. So yes, polls do end up being wrong, actually a lot of the times. And but we're using this as an example, and it is true that voters do vote and polls do not vote. But polls conduct a group of voters, and that can very well be the case. Okay, Arizona, Trump is the favorite to win that. Georgia, Trump is also the favorite to win that by 5%. 5%. And like I said, Georgia and Arizona vote the same. They vote very similarly. And guess what? It's showing that in the polls. My claim that Arizona and Georgia votes very similarly is showing in the polls. The polls are proving my claim that Georgia and Arizona vote similarly, because Trump wins Georgia by 5.5, and he wins Arizona by 4.8. That's both 5%. Estimate that as both nearly 5 percentage points. So Arizona and Georgia, I expect both of them to flip for Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election. Georgia by a lean margin and Arizona by a tilt margin. I expect both Arizona and Georgia to go back to Trump. And he won both of those states in 2016, but got a little bit unlucky. And again, I say this time and time again, Trump needs to get the perfect messaging out there to flip these two states. It's very easy. It's winnable. It's very winnable for Trump. He did it in 2016. He can do it in 2024. Georgia, when it comes to messaging, Brian Kemp is very approved of. Brian Kemp overperforms Trump in Georgia all the time. All the time. Brian Kemp won it by 7%. Trump lost it by 0.3%. So obviously, if Donald Trump can have very good relationship with the governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, maybe Brian Kemp can help carry Donald Trump in a victory of Georgia. So, as of right now, it's not looking like that. Brian Kemp does not have good relations with Donald Trump, obviously. But if Brian Kemp can carry Trump to a victory in Georgia, that will help him get to 270. So, I expect Arizona and Georgia to flip as of right now. And then Wisconsin, the last state. Wisconsin is a state that was won by Biden, narrowly, under percentage point. All of these three states were under a percentage point for Biden. That's how close it was. 0.6%. That's the margin of error. Nearly 20,000 votes. That may seem like a lot of votes. It's not. Trump won the state by the same margin Biden won it, actually. Trump won Wisconsin with the same margin as Biden did. In 2016, 0.6 for Trump. In 2020, 0.6 for Biden. So, Wisconsin is a very swingy state. It can swing to the right, or it can either swing to the right, or either can swing to the left. And there's a 50-50 chance that Trump can win the state. And he has to get the right messaging. He has to, attract those blue collar worker voters. Joe Biden won those group of voters in 2020. And let's see if Donald Trump can win those group of voters again, like he did in 2016. 2016, Wisconsin was won by Donald Trump by 0.6%. Let's see if he can do it again. According to polls suggest Biden nearly defeats Trump in Wisconsin by around a percentage point. A little bit more than he did last time. And get this, I do not think Joe Biden gets more electoral votes than he did in 2020. Joe Biden won Michigan in 2020. I do not see him winning Michigan by more of a percentage than he did in 2020. That's what I'm trying to say. So I do not see Joe Biden getting more votes than he did in 2020. I do not see Joe Biden getting 80 million votes. I don't see it. Maybe 70 million, obviously. And then Donald Trump would also get 70 million, around there. Donald Trump, in fact, got more votes in the 2020 election than he did in 2016. It's crazy because obviously Trump lost in 2020, but he did better in 2020. So that's why the 2020 election was very interesting, and 2024 will be a long, long ride. 2024 will be extremely interesting. It will be close. Don't get me wrong. It will be close. And no matter who the winner is in 2024, whether it's Biden or Trump, they're narrowly going to win. If Biden wins in 2024, he's barely going to win. If Trump wins in 2024, he barely wins. And if there had to be a nominee or a candidate who has a better shot at winning in a landslide, I would say Donald Trump has a better shot at winning in a landslide than Biden does. I mean, you want my honest opinion? That's the fact. Trump 2016, he got 306 electoral votes. Biden 2020, he got 306 electoral votes. So definitely winnable for either Trump and Biden. But Biden, I would say at this point in time, has a better shot at losing in 2024, and that's why I say Donald Trump is on track to win the 2024 presidential election. Now, polls do say that Joe Biden is favored narrowly to win Wisconsin. Okay, what about Pennsylvania, though? Pennsylvania. Donald Trump is the favored to win Pennsylvania by nearly 4 percentage points. 4 percentage points, Donald Trump is favored to win Pennsylvania. Donald Trump wins 281 to 257 according to polls. Now, do I agree with this? No, I don't. I think Biden has a better shot at winning Pennsylvania than he does in Wisconsin. Let's say, in my opinion, I think Biden actually wins Pennsylvania, but maybe, let's say, Trump wins Wisconsin. This is my prediction. Trump 272, Biden 266, and that's what I mean by this is going to be a close election. Obviously, he's not going to end up in a tie. It's extremely unlikely, but this is how I see the 2024 election. I see Donald Trump is on track to win it, and he's nearly going to win it. He's not going to win it big, and if Joe Biden wins, he's not going to win it big. They're barely going to win. So no matter who the winner is, that winner is narrowly going to win the election. It's going to be extremely close, and if you had to make a list and put the top 10 closest elections in history, I would throw the 2024 election in the top 10 closest elections in U.S. American history. So, there you guys go. This is my prediction. Donald Trump is on track to win the 2024 election, and this is his easiest pathway. He needs to flip 3 states, and the 3 states that he can flip, Joe Biden won them by under a percentage point. Hear me out. Under 1%. So if Joe Biden narrowly won those 3 states, Donald Trump, those are easy flips for Trump, and that will easily put him above 270. And this is Donald Trump's easiest pathway to 270 electoral votes. His pathway to 270, his easiest path, is through these 3 states. It's through Arizona, it's through Georgia, it's through Wisconsin. Those are all winnable, and they could easily go to Trump. And they also could easily very well go to Biden, but that's not my point. Anyways, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this map in the comments section down below. Do you agree with the states? What states do you agree with? What states do you disagree with? And this is my map as of today for 2024. I think Donald Trump is very well on the track to defeat Joe Biden. So, and And do you agree with these polls? Do you think the polls are delusional? Or get to subscribe, as we are about to hit 700 subscribers. Thank you.